Just take a look at this right here. This is what people are driving on.
You can see the devastation. Now I'm actually going to step out and show you guys what is going on here. Now this is just one random block that I picked of all of Marion. Now you guys can just see, I'm going to push a little bit closer here. These are trees everywhere, just strewn across downtown Marion.
I decided to join her. According to weather reports, Eric, I'm standing literally feet away from where the shooting happened. It's at the Jet Age Cafe, and that's right off of Mr. Joe White Avenue. And finally, I just got off the phone with the FBI a little while ago, and what it really comes down to is the fact that she was not charged with a crime. Now, Christine says she's got the winning ticket, and I'm kind of hoping that I have the winning ticket. I'm here at the Tip Tent, and they've been here since 3 p.m. today. I don't know if you guys can see behind me. They're still out here right along the side of the street handing out flyers. They tell me they're going to be here for a lot longer. They say that they're not going to let anything distract their efforts. While the majority of Horry County's focus seemed elsewhere, Melissa Gray did not let that slow down her goal.
Still take any tips that we can possibly get to bring Heather home to her family.
Gray says she's been a part of the effort to find Heather since the beginning. She says she can relate to the Elvis family's loss.
If it was my daughter, I would hope that others would do the same thing for me.
On Friday night, her daughter and niece were right alongside her, and they weren't the only ones. Tip Tent volunteers lined the streets, and residents pulled over to show their support any way they could.
So many people have been affected by this, and so many people are outcrying for a resolution. And the community just wants to see this family come back together.
Matthew Stoddard has known the Elvis family for years. He's also one of the people behind the Find Heather Elvis Facebook page. Stoddard says Heather's story has touched the world. He says they've received support on Facebook from people across the country and even overseas. Stoddard says Friday's announcement will not affect their efforts.
We're going to be out here. Heather's not home. The goal is to bring Heather home.
He says for every car that sees their sign or every flyer they hand out, they gain more support to reunite the Elvis family. Now let me just explain some of the support they're getting from residents. I was speaking to volunteers and they told me that one man pulled up, simply came right up to the tent here and literally emptied his pockets. He had about $100 that he gave to them for the Find Heather Elvis Fund. Now I was speaking to Stoddard. He says that they're going to be out here at the Tip Tent 24 hours straight throughout the weekend until 6 p.m. on Sunday. He says that if you're interested in helping out, you can find information on how to do that at the Find Heather Elvis Facebook page, as well as we'll have information on how to do that, my story at WBTW.com. Live in Socastee, I'm AJ Janavel for News 13. And just within the last hour that I spoke, the temperatures have noticeably dropped. The sun set and that wind chill has really caused the air to get cold out here. Now, one option for the homeless is right here behind me. It's Street Reach, and they were checking in a little while ago. They come in, they'll get themselves a meal. They'll also have a place to stay out of the cold tonight. But for a lot of the homeless that I spoke to today, they say that they don't plan on coming to Street Reach, and it's really for them, Nicole, that this freezing temperature becomes a danger.
It takes a special kind of person to live out here, I'm telling you.
Don, who didn't give his last name, says he's been living in the woods since November, which can be tough.
Once these tents get wet, you're done with. Whether it's warm or cold out, you're just wet and miserable.
He says he used to build homes until his accident.
I got run off the road on my moped and broke my shoulders. And I got to go for surgery at the VA whenever they have a spot open for me.
Don says he hasn't seen one disability check since he filed in June. He says the job market is slow in the winter months in Myrtle Beach, and his back doesn't allow him to do much. He says he's gotten accustomed to living in the woods, but he expects the worst when the temperatures drop.
Pants will freeze tonight. It's going to get cold enough.
He lives with a few other people, he says, who work together like a community. Don says it's a struggle, but they'll do anything they can this week to stay warm.
We just try to keep wood cut and huddle around the fire and keep warm coffee in you. You can't do much else besides that. And keep dry. That's the biggest thing out here, is keeping dry.
He has a few blankets and a pillow in his tent, but that's about it. He says it's a tough life, but he doesn't have any other options.
Suck it up and drive on. You really can't do much. Hope for better days.
Now, Nicole, I spoke to a couple other homeless people today, and one family I spoke to today said they're just getting out of Dodge. They got themselves a bus ticket, and they're getting out of this cold weather. Now, if you do plan on coming to Street Reach tonight, officials with the organization say that they got a few donations in today of blankets and sweatshirts, things that they plan on handing out to anyone in need. Live in Myrtle Beach, I'm AJ Janavel for News 13.